Level 7. The President. You are Isaias Afwerki. You have been president of Eritrea since 1993. You have never held an election. When a journalist asked when elections might happen, you answered, "What elections?" Then you said, "We will wait about 3 or 4 decades until we see genuine, natural situations emerge." The journalist was startled. You added, "Maybe more, maybe more. Who knows?" You were not smiling. You were born in 1946 in Asmara under British rule, the second eldest of 8 children. As a boy, you insisted on captaining every neighborhood football team. You demanded the best seat in every room. You enrolled in engineering school in Addis Ababa. You lasted 1 year. You failed your exams, and instead of retaking them, you left to join the Eritrean Liberation Front in Sudan. You drafted a constitution in 1997 but never implemented it. You canceled elections. In 2001, 15 senior government officials, your own comrades from the Liberation War, your own ministers and generals, wrote an open letter demanding democratic reform. They became known as the G15. On September 18, 2001, you arrested 11 of them. You shut down every independent newspaper. You jailed every independent journalist. You never charged any of them. At least 10 of the 21 people arrested that night are believed to have died in detention, including the former vice president's wife, a war heroine, including former foreign ministers who fought beside you for decades. You built a system where every citizen is a soldier, and every soldier is a laborer, and every laborer is a prisoner who hasn't been given a cell yet. The UN called it slavery. 507,000 Eritreans have fled. 1 in 10 of your population lives in exile. Every month, thousands more cross borders through landmine fields under the shoot-to-kill orders you gave. Your former central bank governor wrote that during a disagreement, your neck veins bulged so violently they seemed about to burst. At a dinner with U.S. diplomats, you stormed out of the room because someone told you that cherry tomatoes are supposed to be small. The espresso bars are still open. The Art Deco cinemas still stand. The palm trees still line the boulevards of the most beautiful capital nobody ever visits. The city looks like a postcard from a country that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't. Level 6. The Inner Circle. There are perhaps 5 to 10 people in the country who have genuine proximity to the president. You might be Hagos Geberhiwet, the economic advisor who controls the finances of the ruling party and the state. The U.S. sanctioned him in 2021 for supporting the regime. You know things no one else knows. The state has never published a budget, not once since independence in 1993. The finances of the party and the state are treated as one entity, and they are classified. Eritrea has borrowed $631 million from China. It received $4.36 billion in development aid. A U.S. bankruptcy court ordered Eritrea to pay $286 million to Qatar National Bank. Speaking of journalists, there are none. Every independent newspaper was shut down on September 18, 2001. Every independent editor was arrested. The detained journalist became the longest-held journalist in the world. 7 of the original group are believed to have died in prison. You survive in the inner circle by being useful without being threatening. You never accumulate your own power base. You never develop independent relationships. You do what you're told. You watch the person next to you, and you wait. Level 5. The military commander. You command a zone. Eritrea is divided into military operational zones, and the commanders of these zones hold more real power than any civilian administrator. The civilian governors exist on paper. You exist with a gun and a territory. You control the conscripts assigned to your zone. You decide when they get leave. You decide if they get leave. The Red Sea Trading Corporation, the sprawling business empire owned by the ruling party, uses national service workers in its operations. They report directly to the military chain of command, which reports directly to one man. There is only the party, the military, and the president. If you are effective, you survive. A Carnegie Council analysis described this as deliberate. Competent officials are potential rivals and therefore dangerous. Level 4. The prison guard. You work in one of the detention facilities scattered across the country. There are dozens. Some are formal military prisons. Some are converted buildings. And the most iconic prisons in Eritrea are shipping containers. Metal cargo containers sitting in the desert sun. During the day, the temperature inside rises above 40 degrees Celsius. At night, in the highlands, it drops to near freezing. Prisoners are packed inside, 25 to 30 people in a space 2 meters by 3 meters. Some prisoners are held in underground cells. Prisoners are kept below ground in bunkers where the heat is unbearable and water is rationed to 3/4 of a liter per day. In 2021, PBS Frontline released a documentary called Escaping Eritrea. It included footage secretly recorded inside Adi Abedo prison. The footage showed cells so overcrowded that prisoners lay stacked on top of each other, It was the first visual proof of what survivors had been describing for decades. You guard these people. You feed them the minimum. You follow orders. If a prisoner dies from heat, from untreated malaria, from a beating, there is no investigation. This is the system you maintain because you were assigned to maintain it.